Good afternoon, students. Welcome to the live lecture of Real Analysis 1. In the last lecture, we have seen some important notions regarding integrability, such as upper integral, lower integral. Also, we have seen some important inequalities which will be helpful to define those upper integral and lower integral. And one of the important we have seen is both the sums, lower sum and upper sum, lies between small m times b minus a to capital M times b minus a. That of small m is the infima and capital M is the suprema of the given function over the given interval a to b. With the geometric sketches also we have tried to understand how the actual area of integration lies between this area small m times b minus a to this area capital M times b minus a. And this concept is used to define upper integral, and the upper integral of the given function is defined to be infimum of set of upper sum, right? For a given interval a to b, how many types of partitions one can do? Infinite partitions, right? Now, infinite ways are there to make the partitions. Corresponding to every partition, there is one sum. One sum is going to exist called as upper sum. And due to this inequality, number one, may I say, whatever is your partition, the upper sum lies between small m times b minus a to capital M times b minus a. Means whatever is the set under the consideration, UPF, P is a partition, this set is a bounded set. And if it is a bounded set, one can say that the infima exists, and infima of set of upper sums is defined to be upper integral. Very similar to this, suprema of set of lower sums is called as lower integral. And again, what will be the concept behind this? For a given interval, there are infinite number of partitions possible. With respect to every partition, there is one lower sum, and this set is again bounded. That's why supremum exists, and the supremum we were going to define to be the lower integral. Next definition we have seen is refinement of a partition. What is the refinement? Definition says that partition P star is called refinement of the original partition P if P star contains P or P is a subset of P star. Correct now? What we were going to do in refinement only, whatever is your original partition, you have to add more number of points so that set of points of this partition P will be a subset of set of points with this new partition, right? Therefore, with this refinement, we are going to make the length of the interval smaller, correct? No? We were going to make the length of the interval, subinterval smaller, so that it is going to refine the partition. It is going to make this finer. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. With this, what can I say is, wait a minute. Okay. Now, next we have seen the concepts by using the geometrical interpretations also. Right now, what we have seen is whenever we will consider the upper sum of the given function with respect to the original partition, and if we refine the partition, the upper sum, yes, upper sum increases or decreases? It decreases, right? Yes, it decreases and it is trying to get closer to the actual area. Similarly, with respect to the refinement, that is, if we refine the partition, we have seen that lower sum increases. Again, it is going towards the actual area, and that's why the condition of integrability is defined to be upper integral is equal to lower integral is equal to actual integration. Then we say that the function is integrable. Now, in today's lecture, we will go for some important remarks. Okay. First remark we will see under this is, okay, see, before that I'll just recall the inequality we have studied in that previous lecture. What we have seen, small m times b minus a less than or equals to lower sum. What is the relation between lower sum and upper sum? Surely this is lower sum is less equal by upper sum, no? less than or equals to m times b minus a. Therefore, if I just take the infimum of the corresponding upper sum, supremum of the corresponding upper sum, and if the middle two are equal, may I say the actual area of integration or actual integration again lies between these two values? Is that okay? If f is integrable, if f is integrable over the closed interval AB, then yes, can I write? The actual integration is lying between small m times b minus a to capital M times b minus a. Correct?
Yes,
Is there
ma'am.
any difficulty with this? It was a situation like this, no? This is the actual area, actual integration. And if you find out some lower sums or m times b minus a, if you find out for this function, here is your m times b minus a, no? This region. This is my small m, infima. This will be my small m times b minus. Where will be capital M? Somewhere here it is capital M. Then where it will be, which region will be there for capital M times b minus a? This pink region. Therefore, one can easily check that the actual area lies between this blue shaded region and pink shaded region. That is small m times b minus a to capital M times b minus a. Okay. Is that okay? Now, condition of integrability says that whenever the two integrals are equal, function is integrable. What will happen if the integrals are not equal? Yes. The function for which these two integrals are not equal. What can I say about the integrability? Yes, students. Hmm? If upper and lower integrals are equal, then we were saying the function is integrable. Now my question is, if the two integrals, upper integral and lower integral, are not equal, what can I say about the
Not integral.
Then
Not
it is
integrable.
non-integrable.
right? Very good. Are called not integrable. Correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, third remark I'm going to write is whenever we were saying the statement that this integration exists, integration a to b f dx exists. Can anyone tell me the meaning of this word exist? Hmm? What it is going to imply? Already you have used this word, na? Integration exists. What is the actual meaning? Hmm?
Present.
Whenever we say that this
Bounded and
very good. The function is bounded and integrable. Bounded and integrable. Over which interval? Closed interval A to B. Correct? Exist. The meaning is bounded and integrable. Because we were not finding the integrability for not bounded functions. Right now? Okay. Now, by using this, inequality, if I call this as say 1 and if I call this as 2, we wanted to establish one more inequality. Before that, can anyone tell me the relation between lower sum and actual integrability? Lower sum and actual integration. Correct? Can anyone tell me the value? Actually, if the function is integrable, this lower integral is nothing but your actual integration. No. But what is the definition for the lower integral we have studied? Supremum of lower sums. Correct now? Therefore, actually this is supremum of set of lower sums. Correct. Now I wanted to have the relation between arbitrary lower sum and the supremum of the set of lower sums. What should I write here? Three possibilities we have: less equal, greater equal, or equal to. What inequality will be is going to exist here? Are you getting my question?
Less
Lower
equal, ma'am.
integral. Yes, it is less
Less
equal.
equal.
Very good. Very good. And if I do the same job for upper sum and integration, yes, if it is integral, if it is equal to your upper integral, right now? And what is upper integral actually? Infimum of set of upper sums. Then what is the relation between arbitrary upper sum and infimum of all set of all upper sums? What inequality I should write here? Relation upper sum and infimum of set of upper sums. Yes? Again you have three possibilities: less equal, greater equal, or equality. Suppose
Less
this,
equal, ma'am.
yes?
Less equal.
Is it less equal? Check again. Let me give you one example. If I am considering a set of elements between 1 to 10, say, okay, 1 to 10, what is the infima of the set? 1 to 10? It's 1, na? Infimum value, right? Okay, now you tell me a relation between an arbitrary element x and infimum of the set. What x may be? X may be any element between 1 to 10. If x is 1, what is the relation? This will be equal to, exactly equal. If x is other than 1, any value 2 to 10, what will be a relation then? What can I write here?
Greater than. Greater than.
Right now. Therefore, there is a possibility either it is greater or equal. So what can I write? Arbitrary value is greater
Equal.
or
Equal.
equal than the infima. Correct?
Yes,
Right
ma'am.
now? Therefore, I can have a relation. Lower sum is less than or equals to your actual integration. Upper sum is greater than or equals to your actual integration. Therefore, just let me combine the relation number 1 and 2 to write from 1 and 2. What can I write? Say, what is the relation between small m times b minus a and lower sum we have seen? This is less equal, right? Okay, and this lower sum is less equal by your actual integration. Integration a to b f dx. Okay, and this integration is less equal by upper sum, correct? And this upper sum is less equal by capital M times b minus a. Therefore, combining both these inequalities, number 1 and number 2, we can have this inequality again. Small m times b minus a less equal by lower sum. Lower sum is less equal by actual integration. Actual integration is less equal by upper sum, and it is still less equal by capital M times b minus a. Is that okay? Okay. Now the last remark I am writing number 5. Whenever these two sums are not equal, we can find out the difference between the two sums, and the difference between the upper sum and lower sum is defined as an oscillatory sum. Okay. According to the definition, what are the definitions of both the sums? Capital M I delta xi and small m I delta xi. Correct now? Therefore, if I just combine this, this is capital Mi minus small mi into delta xi, right? Therefore, what is this capital Mi minus small mi doing? These are actually the fluctuations of your given function in the ith interval, right now? You may just check any
Ma'am.
example we have drawn, right now. Here it is. If I consider this interval, this is your capital Mi and this is your small mi. Then what is capital Mi minus small mi tells you? Tells you the fluctuations, right now. How function is differentiating or it is changing in this ith interval. Okay. Therefore, this capital Mi minus small mi is actually fluctuations or oscillations of the given function in the given interval. Therefore, this is called as mi minus mi being oscillations, right now? Being oscillations of f in ith subinterval, right? In ith subinterval, this is called as UPF minus LPF, denoted by WPF, is called as oscillatory sum. What is its name? Oscillatory sum. The sum which are going to arise by the oscillations are called as the oscillatory sums. Is that okay? 5 remarks we have written totally. Okay, any difficulty with this?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Ma'am.
Good. Shall I move towards the examples then? Now we will solve some examples to check whether the given function is Riemann integrable or not. Okay, let me just explain what the process we are going to do. If any function f is given to you and it is asked us to show that it is integrable or check it is integrable, what you are going to do is, okay, first you make the partition of the given interval. Partition you have to define, right? For the sake of convenience, one can have some n equal subintervals, equal partitions one can make. After doing the partitions, you must find out lower sum, upper sum, right? Once you find out lower sum, upper sum, you have to go for finding supremum of lower sums. You have to go for finding infimum of upper sums. If you do so, this will be your lower integral, right? And this will be your upper integral. And only you have to check whether these two are equal or not. If these two are equal, function will be integrable. If not, it is not integrable. Is that okay? This is the method we were going to do, right? Now let me go for the first example. It is asked us to show that the constant function f of x is equal to k is integrable and integration a to b k dx. It is asked us to show, yes, what is the value? We are expert in integrations now. What is the integration? A to b k dx?
B minus A.
Yes, it is k times b minus a. Okay. Now we have to check integrability according to the Darbox condition, and we have to show the value is this much. Is that okay? If someone wants to plot it, suppose somewhere here it is my k function, right? Here it is k value, and if this is the interval k a to b say, okay, then this area will be under the consideration, right now? And what is the area of this region? Pink shaded region.
K into B minus.
Yes, what will be the area? Yes, it is k into b minus. That is what your integration value is. Okay. Now let me start with the partition of the given interval. So let me do n equal partition for this interval. But as this function is a constant function, for any interval, whatever kind of interval I can make, what is your function value? Constant, that is k, right? So for here what I will write, for any partition P, of the given interval A to B, we will go directly for finding lower sum and upper sum. Why? Because of the nature of the function, right? Now, what is the lower sum we were defining actually? Summation small mi delta xi, I running from 1 to n. Let me just run up the sum. This will be m1 delta x1, m2 delta x2, so on up to mn delta xn. Look at this. Whatever is the partition, what is the function value? K, no? Function value remains same. What is the infima then? What will be the value small m1, small m2 for every interval? For this first, second, third, fourth, and so on intervals. What will be the infima value, suprema value, both? What is the function? You have to tell me the suprema, infima simply. Look at the graph I have drawn here. What is the infima value in every subinterval?
K.
Yes, it is k. Why you are thinking so
K.
much? Function is constant, no. Therefore, in every interval, shall I write k? Therefore, in first interval, the value is k. In the second interval, the value is k. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Because function is constant, right? So let me take k common, and what I am going to have in the bracket, delta x1 added with delta x2, so on up to added with delta xn. What delta x1 is? Length of first subinterval, right? Delta x2 is length of second subinterval, and just go on continuing. And we have to go up to the last interval, delta xn. And if I just add up the length of all the subintervals, what I am going to get? Is it the length of your whole interval?
B
B
minus
minus
A.
B minus A.
B minus A, right? This is the lower sum with respect to any partition P. Now, if I look at this right hand side, it is not going to depend on the n value, not going to depend on the partition. Therefore, this is a fixed value. K into B minus A is a fixed value. It is not going to vary. Therefore, if I collect all the lower sums in one bracket, what will be every value? K times B minus A. Therefore, actually set of lower sums is having a singleton value, K times B minus A. Then what about the suprema? What is lower integral we have defined? Supremum, lower sum. What P is? P is partition of closed interval AB.
AB.
Yes, we have only one element in this set. What is that element? A into B minus is fixed element we have. Then what will be a suprema? एकच एलिमेंट आहे माझ्याकडे सेट मध्ये K into B minus A. सुप्रीमा काय असेल? समजते का नक्की सगळ्यांना मी काय बोलत आहे ते? सिंगलटन सेट आहे हो. सुप्रीमा इन्फिमा काय असतो मग त्या सेटचा? सिंगलटन एलिमेंट आहे माझ्याकडे.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am.
काय येस? कोण असणार एलिमेंट?
Suprema K into B minus A.
येस, सिंगलटन सेट आहे म्हणजे तो जो एलिमेंट आहे तोच सुप्रीमा असेल, तोच इन्फिमा असेल ना. Okay, therefore what is value of lower integral we have obtained? K into B minus A. Let us proceed forward similarly for finding the upper integral. Now I'll just repeat the process. What is upper sum? Capital M delta x. So let me run up the sum. Tell me the suprema of the function in every subinterval. What is the suprema in every subinterval? Look at the sketch again. What?
K.
Yes, K is the
Delta
suprema.
x1.
K.
It is K,
K
right?
delta.
K. Suprema in every subinterval takes the value K again, right? Now let me take K common. Same situation we have, na?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Right? Shall I write it again? K times B minus A.
B
This
minus
is the
A.
value of your upper sum. Now, then what I'm going to do? I'm going to get the upper integral. What is upper integral then? Infima. Infima of what? Set of all upper sums P is the partition, right? Okay, again, this right hand side value is fixed. It is not depending on any partition, right? Therefore, again, we have a singleton element K into B minus A. Therefore, what will be the infima? K into
Minus A.
B minus A, right? Therefore, what is the value of upper integral we were getting? K into B minus A. Let me call it as statement number 2. Look at your statement number 1. Lower integral is also K into B minus A. Therefore, may I say both the integrals are same?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
May I write upper integral is equal to lower integral, and this is both the values are equal to k times b minus a. Thus, the given function is integrable. F of x equal to k is integrable. Is integrable over the given interval a to b. And what is the value? Common value? K into 3 minus a. Right now?
Yes, ma'am.
Actually, k into b minus a, we have given this answer by using the formula for the integration. Here, nowhere we have used the formula. We have just made use of the Riemann definition of integrability, or Boxholm condition of integrability, and we have derived the one. Right now? Yes, any difficulty with this? If you have, you can ask me.
No, ma'am.
Okay, let us go for one more example. Show that f of x equal to x squared is integrable on any interval, on any 0 to k. I think again you can tell me the value. If I wanted to solve it by integration 0 to k x squared dx. What is integration by formula?
X cube by 3.
Yes, it is x cubed by 3 between the limits 0 to
0 to
k.
k.
Let me put upper limit. This will be k cubed by 3 minus lower limit is 0. If your integration value is k cubed by 3, right? Now we have to check by our usual definition whether we were getting the same value. Okay. What is the method I told you? First, we'll make the partition of the interval. We'll find lower sum, we'll find upper sum, then we'll go for finding suprema and infima of the corresponding lower sums and upper sums, right? Before that, let me do a partition. Now, if I look at the nature of this function, it is x squared. What kind of curve it will have? What kind of graph it will have? X squared. Nature of the function is. Yes, students has to tell me the nature. How the function is going to look like?
Straight line.
X squared.
Parabola.
Yes, it's a parabola. Parabola in which direction? Upward, downward, rightward, leftward?
Word.
Upward.
Downward.
Yes, it is upward. Touching x-axis or not?
Yes.
Okay, it's like this, no? Okay, this is the nature of
Yes,
the
ma'am.
curve. Now let us make the partition of the given interval first. Consider the partition. For the sake of convenience, we were doing equal partition, equal subintervals. Consider the partition P of the interval 0 to k obtained by dividing the interval into n equal parts. Why we were dividing into n equal parts? For the sake of convenience, just to reduce the calculations. If I make n equal parts, what will be the length of your interval? Same, no? Length of interval will be same. Okay. Actually, in the upper sum, we have to multiply the suprema or infima values with the length of the interval. Na? This multiplication is to be obtained. And if you just take different intervals, sub-intervals with a different length, it will be a job to find out the length of the interval for every time. Instead of this, if I make equal partition, equal sub-intervals of the given interval, this job is going to be reduced. Right now, just for the sake of convenience, we were making n equal parts of the given interval. If I wanted to make n equal parts of this interval 0 to k, can anyone tell me what will be the length of every interval? What is the length of this total interval 0 to k? 0 to k. What is the length of the interval?
K.
Yes, it is k. If I make n equal parts, what will be the length of every subinterval?
K by N.
Yes, it
K.
is.
By N, 2K by N.
Yes. Therefore, what will be the first point after 0?
By N.
K by n. Next point,
2K by N.
2k by n. And we have to continue. What will be somewhere my ith subinterval?
I minus 1K by N.
Very good. I minus 1 k by n to I k by n. And continue up to what will be the second last point? What will be the last
K.
point? K. That is nk by n. Right now? What will be its previous point?
N minus 1 K into
n
by
minus
N.
1 k by n. Right now? Therefore, what can I write the set P of partition? Set of points we have to write. Now, first point is 0, second is k by n, 2k by n, and so on up to I minus 1 k by n to I k by n. This is my ith interval. And lastly, I can go up to n minus 1 k by n to n k by n, that is k. Is that okay? Understood the partition? इक्वल पार्ट्स का
Yes,
केले
ma'am.
लक्षात येते का? इक्वल पार्ट्स का केले लक्षात
Yes, ma'am.
येते का? कारण आपल्याला सम काढताना काय करायचंय, प्रत्येक सुप्रीमाला त्याच्या लेंथने मल्टिप्लाय करायचंय. मग प्रत्येक वेळेस आपण जर इक्वल इंटरव्हल्स नाही घेतले समजा तर काय होईल, हा इंटरव्हल प्रत्येक वेळेस लेंथ काढत बसावं लागेल ना आपल्याला. त्याच्याऐवजी आपण काय करतोय, एन इक्वल घेऊन टाकायचे. बाबा एकदाची लेंथ फिक्स होते इंटरव्हल सब इंटरव्हलची. करेक्ट? ओके. What is the ith subinterval then? Is it I minus 1 k by n to I k by n? Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
What is the length of ith subinterval? Length of ith subinterval or length of subintervals I can write, because all the subintervals will have equal length. Yes? What is the length?
K by N.
K by n, and may I say this is the length of each subinterval, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am.
Tell me the suprema and infima. Capital Mi, small mi. Now let us come to this graph again. Somewhere here it is 0 to k. We have say 0 to k here we have say. Okay. Somewhere it is k by n, 2k by n. Somewhere it is ik by n. This is my ith interval, say ith. Okay. Then look at the nature of your graph and tell me what will be the suprema and infima. If I just join the interval points with the graph of a function, here it is and here it is. Look at this. What will be suprema and what will be the infima? What is this? This point and this point. Which one is suprema? Which one is infima? अरे infima suprema कोण आहे याच्यात? हाय का हाय? दोन फंक्शन व्हॅल्यूज आहेत ना आपल्याकडे. In the ith subinterval, function takes values from this point to this point, right? What will be the suprema of the function? What will be the infima of the function? यातला मोठा पॉइंट कुठला आहे, छोटा पॉइंट कुठला आहे?
Supremum
K
point.
मोठा. सुप्रीमा आहे के.
माहितीकडे नका जाऊ. मी काय विचारते, या दोन मधला कोण सुप्रीम आहे, कोण इंफिम आहे? हे दोन
First one is suprema, ma'am.
फर्स्ट म्हणजे खाली कवर.
वर.
वरचं मॅडम.
वरचं काय आहे, सुप्रिमा का इन्फिमा?
सुप्रीमा.
Suprema.
किती वेळ राहताय एवढासा प्रश्न विचारलाय मी. This will be the infima, this will be the suprema. Therefore, can you tell me the values of the images? It will not be ik upon n, right? Na? What it is? If this is my ith subinterval, then what is this point? I minus 1 k by n, right? And this is ik by n. And what is my mi? Small mi is the function image of this point, no?
Yes.
F image of this point. What is capital Mi? F image
K
of
by
this
N.
point. Yes. What are the F images then? Capital Mi is F image of ik by n. Small mi is F image of I minus 1 k by n. What is your function, given function? F of x is?
X square.
What is F of ik upon n?
Square.
Square,
X
na?
square.
Ah. समजतंय का सगळ्यांना? बघा, काही कन्फ्युजन आहे का? Look at the nature of your curve and you have to decide which are the suprema values and infima values. This lower point is infima, which is the f image of this point I minus 1 k by n. If I had taken just small mi is f of this element, capital Mi is f of this element, right? And I have written the values. These are my suprema infimas. Any difficulty up to this point? If you have, you can ask me.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Now shall I go for finding lower sum, upper sum? Let us find upper sum. What is upper sum? Summation. Here I can write upper function value I will write. This is upper sum for which function? X square function. Summation I equals to 1 to n capital Mi delta x. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Let us run up the sum. Now you have to tell me the values. M1. Mi is this value. Then what is M1? I equal to 1 you have to substitute.
K by n.
Is it k by n? Or k by n bracket square?
K by n bracket square.
Right? This is k by n bracket square. What is the length of the interval? Is it k by n? Added with. What is M2? Is it 2k into k by n? So on. Shall I write up to directly last n k by n bracket square into k by n. Okay. Now what I will do, if I just check k by n bracket square into k by n is the common term, therefore may I take k cube upon n cube common. You have to tell me what are the terms remaining. First term will be 1. What about second term? 1 or 1 square I will write. In the second term, what we remain with?
2 square.
2 square.
2 square.
Square. So on up to.
N square.
Now tell me the sum of squares of first and natural numbers. Do you have the idea? Anyone remembering the formula?
N into n plus
N
1 into
plus
bracket
1,
2n plus 1.
bracket 2n plus 1.
Sampla?
Divided by 6.
Divided by 6.
By 2.
Very good. Divided by 6. Okay. I will go to the next page. UPX square is equal to. What one more thing I will do is, I will divide by n cube to all the 3 terms. N cube we have 3 terms we have, right? 1 n will get cancelled directly. K cube by 6 I will write. 1 n will be cancelled. I will divide by 1 n to this bracket. What is remaining? 1
plus 1 by n.
Right. Next.
2 plus 2
2
by
plus
n.
1 by n.
1 by n. 1 by n.
2 plus 1 by n. And I will call this as statement number 1. right? This is upper sum. What one has to find? What one has to find out in order to get the upper integral? Now your upper sum depends on n, na? Depends on the partition, number of points in the partition. Therefore, if you change the partition, whether the value changes or remains the same?
Changes.
Yes, it is changes. If you make some n equal to 5 points, if you are going to take 5 sub intervals, then the value will be different. If you make n equal to 100, value will be different, right? Now, therefore, this value for upper sum depends upon the partition now. In the previous example, the value do not depend on the partition, right? But now here it depends on the partition, rather the number of sub intervals in the partition. Therefore, in order to find out the infima, right? Now, infima we should find infima of set of upper sums. What I have to do? For which value of n, this sum you will get infimum. For which values of n, the value of upper sum will be smaller is my question. N equal to 100, n equal to 1000, n equal to 1 lakh. If I go and increase the value of n, what will be the effect on your upper sum? Value increases or decreases if n increases? Try to understand my question. If n increases, what is the effect on your upper sum? If n increases, upper sum
Decreases.
decreases, correct? Right now, why? Let us say I am taking n equal to 100. N equal to 100. Then this is 1 upon 100 point not 1. So this bracket x value 1 point. This bracket x value 1 point. N equal to 100 I am saying, na 1 point not 1. Not 1, na 100 I am saying. And if I make the value 1000, if I make the value 1000, then what will be the value of this bracket? Not 1. Similarly, this bracket, na, for the first this will be 2.01, for the second this will be 2.01. Therefore, if you are going to increase your value of n, the value of upper sum decreases. Now I am interested in finding the infima of the upper sums, right? Then what should I take? If I take n tends to infinity, may I say the infima will be obtained? 0 to k upper sum 0 to k integration x square dx. May I write this is infima of set of all upper sums, right? And this set will be infima upper sum. I will write this is k cube upon 6, 1 plus 1 by n, 2 plus 1 by n. Therefore, this infima will be obtained if I take the limit n tends to infinity. Is that okay? Is everyone getting me? Check. Okay. What is the value if I take limit n tends to infinity?
K by 3. K cube by 3.
K cube by 3. This is 1 plus 0 and this is 2 plus 0. Right now, n is tending to infinity. Therefore, this 2 will cancel the 6 by 3. Therefore, this is k cube by 3 is the value of your upper integral, right? Correct now? This is the value of your upper integral. Now, similarly, we have to find out the lower integral. Therefore, let us start with the lower sum again. Small mi delta xi. For the first few examples, I will go in detail. But for the next examples, I am going to write most of the terms directly. Therefore, you have to pay attention carefully. And if you are having any difficulty, you can ask me. Okay, what will be the infima values of the function? F image, small mi is I minus 1 bracket square into k square by n square, right now? Then what is m1?
0.
right? M2 k square by n square, right?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Did I write 0 here? Wait, my printer is giving trouble too. First value is 0, right? 0. What is the length of the interval? K by n again. For M2, this is k square by n square, k by n. Let me write one more. What will be M3? Correct, no? M3 I am going to write again. And let me go last. N minus 1 bracket square k square by n square into length of the interval is k by. First term is 0. Okay. So let me take here it is 0 no doubt, but in order to adjust with the remaining terms I will write 0 k square by n square. Is that okay? So that I can take k cube by n cube common and I should start with the 0 square. Or you can drop the term totally. One can start with 1 2. No need to do this much. First term is 0, na? This I can write 0. I'll drop this 0 term. I'll start with 1. 1 square, 2 square, and what will be my last term? For the
Minus 1
first term,
N minus
n minus 1 square.
very good. What will be sum of natural numbers up to 1 to n minus 1? Whatever we have written previously, we have to replace n by n minus 1, right?
n minus 1 into n minus 2n minus 1
Into n. N
Upon 6.
plus 1 is
Upon
there,
6. Divide 6.
upon 6, right? Again, I will divide by n cube to all the three terms. K cube by 6 I will write. 1 will already get cancelled. And we remains with 1 minus 1 upon n. 2 minus 1 upon n. This is the value of your lower sum. Right? Now for lower sum, what we are interested in finding? Suprema, right? Correct, no? In order to find lower integral, we have to find out the supremum of set of lower sums. Again, the lower sum depends on the value of n. Okay, now just think, what will happen if I increase the number of points in the partition? What is the effect on your lower sum? Increases or decreases? Check.
Increases.
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 Yeah, increases. Why? Because we were subtracting this term from 1. Right now, if I take n equals to 100, we were subtracting 1 point, we were subtracting 0.01 from 1. What is the value? What is the value? If I make n equal to 1000, I am subtracting a value 1.001 from 1. Therefore, surely this value is bigger. This will be smaller. Therefore, as you increase your value of n, lower sum increases. Therefore, here should I write n increases imply lower sum. Yes?
Increases.
If how can I find out the suprema then? Lower integral x square dx is defined as, yes, supremum lower sums, right? No?
Zero.
What should I take? N tends to infinity or n tends to 0? Which one of them will be applicable here? K cube by 6, 1 minus 1 by n, 2 minus 1 by n. Here we have seen as n increases, lower sum increases, and we wanted to find suprema. Therefore, in order to find the suprema, can I take limit as n tends to infinity or n tends to 0?
Infinity.
Yes. N tends to 0 means you are decreasing number of points. If you decrease the number of points, lower sum will decrease. We want to increase the lower sum. Correct now? In both the cases, limit n tends to infinity is applicable. Once for suprema, once for integer. Let us apply the limit. This is k cube by 6, 1 minus 0, 2 minus 0, and hence you will get k cube by 3 again. This is the value of your lower integral. Statement number 2 say. Okay? So from 1 and 2, lower integral x square dx is equal to upper integral x square dx is equal to k cube by 3. Hence the function is, thus function f of x equal to is integrable. And what is the value? K cube by 3. Is it okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Any difficulty? If you have, you can ask me. Now I am giving you some examples for homework. You can do it on your own. For f of x equal to, say, x cube on the range 0 to k. Right? One more you can do is f of x equal to 2x plus 1, say, on the interval 1 to 5. Okay? Try for these two examples. Whatever the method I have used for solving these two examples, you can use the same one to perform this. Okay? Let us stop
Okay,
for
ma'am.
today. If you have any difficulty, you can ask me.
No, ma'am.
Very good then. Let me stop. Thank you for being with me for this lecture.